All right, everybody, welcome to the morphing tutorial. So we are going to make some shapes change over time, or at least trick the viewer to think that they're changing over time. All right, so the first one is quite simple. We're gonna work with some bright colors and have some drawn shapes here, shape layers here in After Effects change over time and make kind of a nice transition over time. All right, so go ahead and start a new project. You can go ahead and save it ahead of time, so you can be saving throughout, and name it whatever you like. I'm gonna be calling mine Morphing. Go ahead and save. Let's do a new composition. We are gonna do animated GIFs for this particular tutorial. So let's go back to our GIF composition size, which is 600 by 600 pixels, a frame rate of 24 frames, and then 5 seconds, of course. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is we need to get some colors. And so what you can do is create a new library, go into Adobe Color and add a couple of palettes if you'd like, or you can just use a library that you already have available to you if you'd like. I'm just gonna go ahead and use Fruit. I don't really want to start a new library. I know that Fruit has a lot of bright colors from a previous lesson. All right, so I'm gonna go into layers and we're gonna go ahead and start a new solid layer for the background. I'm gonna choose this yellow here just to start off with kind of a lower intensity color. And then what we're gonna do is go ahead and start a new shape layer. Now I'm gonna scoot this over and up a little bit here. And what I'm gonna have you do is go ahead and grab your pen tool. I'm just gonna have you make a rectangle of sorts down here. It doesn't have to be perfect. Make sure you're closing that up, and you'll see that with the circle shape next to the pen tool. So we're closing it up. I'm gonna toggle this down. We're gonna go to Contents, Shape, Path, and here we have our path. So we're gonna animate this over time to come into the composition window, and we're gonna do this a few different times in fun ways and use a few different colors. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and toggle on the animation clock for that path. I've got my scrubbing tool at the beginning of my composition, so that's perfect. I'm gonna scrub forward a little bit. Now, when I come over to the shape, I'm gonna see my anchor points are all highlighted, like so. And if I come and I try to move it, it's gonna move the whole shape. But what I wanna do is individually move these. So if I click inside of the shape, this is really important, click inside of the shape, you're gonna see that these turn to little circles. So I'm gonna grab my selection tool and hover over one of the little circles, and now you can see that it moves independently. And so this path now morphs from this shape to this shape. Cool, right? All right, so let's go ahead and do another one. So I've got this kind of diagonal pink thing happening here. Let's go ahead and do a new shape layer. I'm gonna make this a little smaller so I can kind of see what's going on. You can see the importance of being able to really see what's going on around your canvas window a lot of the time. So for this one, let's see, I'm gonna do a bit of a curved line, I think, for fun. So we'll do a curved line like that. And then I'll go back and click back on that last anchor point, and I'll just kind of complete the circle shape. Okay, now I'm gonna toggle down to the shape. There's path one. I'm gonna bring my scrubbing tool to the beginning. And I actually already have the shape growing from this side to that side, so I actually want it to go this direction. So I'm gonna grab my selection tool. I'm gonna take this hover over the path to move the whole thing. I'm going to move it over this way. with my scrubbing tool at the beginning of the timeline, I'm going to toggle on path animation. And this time, we're going to have it grow this way. Although I need to change the fill here. So I'm going to choose, how about this nice dark blue? Hit OK. Now, I need to make sure that these little points are circles so that they can independently move, right? Because they're not going to do that if they are all highlighted squares. So now I've got my scrubbing tool down the timeline. It's sitting on the keyframe, so whatever I do to it, it's going to freeze. So let's go ahead and bring this into the composition. I'm going to make some adjustments here. I want it to come into the composition like so. Let's see how that movement's looking. Nice. All right, so these are both moving from the beginning, so I'm going to start a new one that maybe starts right around here instead. So we're going to go to Layer, New Shape Layer. I'm going to grab my pen tool, and I'm going to draw something. I'm going to draw something up here, and maybe it's going to be like a shape like this. So this is working with very abstract shapes, right? We're kind of just having a fun moving background and morphing these over time. So for my new shape layer, I'm going to go ahead and toggle that up so I don't get confused. I'm going to toggle down to the contents, the shape, the path, and I'm going to start the animation here. So I'm going to toggle on the animation time clock here, come forward a little bit. I'm going to go to my selection tool. Now all of these are highlighted boxes and I want them to be circles, right? So I'm going to click inside of the shape and I'm going to get those desired boxes. The other thing I need to do is change the color. So let's go ahead and grab the fill, and this time I'm going to pick something in the green spectrum. Let's go ahead and choose this green. Okay. So my keyframe's already laid down because as soon as I change the shape of the path, it's going to start recording the animation. Whoops. Oh goodness, I'm just going to Command Z that. Okay. Let's try clicking on one of these other ones. So I'm going to make kind of a shape coming in. Let's see how that looks over time. Shape coming in like that. I don't want it to start with this little corner over here. So I'm going to go back to the first keyframe, which is right here. And I'm going to go ahead and move that up and in a little bit. All right, and I'm going to add one more, I think a bright red one for the end. So we're going to go New Shape Layer. I'm going to grab my pen tool, and I'm going to draw something up here. Let's just make it like a triangle shape. Toggle that down. Toggle on the animation, come forward. I need to make sure that I have my selection tool selected. Again, we have highlighted square boxes. We don't really want to be seeing those, so we need to click inside of the shape itself. And I'm going to go ahead and grab this. I do need to change the color, but I'm going to come in and grab this and drag it down. Let's go ahead and choose a nice bright red. Maybe this one. Whew, that pink is intense. It's too intense. Okay. So now what we have is a nice abstract morphing of shapes that happens over time. Look at that. It's your first morph. Now, they only get more complicated from here, of course, and that's all right. That is how that works. So, for this, let's go ahead and add this to the media encoder queue, which will take just a moment to pop up here. Okay, so here we go. You just need to tell it where to save it. I'm gonna call this a rainbow abstract. You can call it whatever you like. And I can't spell abstract. Abstract. I'm gonna go ahead and put this onto my desktop. I still can't spell abstract. Oh, I see, I have an extra. Abstract. My goodness. Okay, so save. Go ahead and render that out. I see. It saved it into my Morphing Adobe Media Encoder. Almost said American. Folder that is created when I use encoder. Forgot about that. Okay. So here we go. Here's the first part of this morphing, nice rainbow shapes. This is part of what you will turn in for the end of this tutorial. Okay, we'll see you in the next video. Thanks, everybody.